Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah, and every name of any person who happens to fall upon this. Today I'm going to give you my testimony about why I believe that Yahuwah is real, why I believe He is truly there, and why I believe that He saves us. When I was 6 years old, we used to have this creek in Mount Pleasant, and it was called Swift Creek. And me and my brothers and sisters used to go down there, and we would ride down the algae half pipe, and at the bottom, before you'd go under the road, there used to be a little bit of a current that would stop you so you could stand up and you could climb out. Well, I didn't know that that current had stopped, and my mom and everybody were trying to yell at me, and I did not understand what they were talking about. And as I was slipping past them, not knowing how to stop, a voice literally called out as clear as I am talking to you that said, "Mickey, lift up your hand." And I put my hand up, and it smacked into a metal rebar. And I didn't go underneath the street. If I would have went underneath the street into the water tunnels, I would have drowned. When I was 12, I was with my friend Paula, and my friend Paula always took us over to her mother's house when she was living in an apartment, and we would all go swimming. And we were with her daughter Heidi and her son Ryan and Justin, and I think Mike was there too, and her neighbor Brianna that she watched sometimes was with us. And I might have been a little bit younger. I might have been 9 or 10, but I think I was 12, so we'll just stick with that number. I don't remember when Paula moved away, but the fact is I was with them and we were swimming, and I told Brianna, because I'd done it with other children, if you hold on lightly and you don't push me down, I can swim from one side of the pool to the other because you can't swim. So I can take you on a little trip of the pool, but you can't push me down because if you get scared, I'm not going to be able to stay up if you're pushing me under. She promised me that she wouldn't push me down, and I got into the deep water and she got scared and she just pushed me down to save herself. And you know, she was young. She was like 4 or 5, so you can understand her fear, you know, and she didn't do it to hurt me or anything. She was just terrified. And right before I was going to black out, I heard a voice in my head that said, "Michelle, push off the bottom and I will lift you up." And I pushed off the bottom, and as my body shot up, a lifeguard grabbed Brianna and another person grabbed my hand. And he saved my life again. And when I was 13, I tried to commit suicide, and he wouldn't let me die. It wasn't very bad. I was put into Charter Summit Hospital at the time. And I got out of there and followed my life's path, and I tried that a few more times half-heartedly because I was so unhappy after my sons died. But before my son Zachary died, I was in a car with him, and I was going up Highway 89 from Mount Pleasant to Spanish Fork Canyon. And if anybody knows Utah, you'll know 89 to Spanish Fork Canyon's highway. I don't know what it's called, but I've always just called it Spanish Fork Highway. And I didn't stop in time. And there are 2 semis coming at me from one side, and the other side looks like there's no way for me to turn at all. And my dad is honking behind me, freaking out, and all of a sudden I hear this voice in my head that says, "Michelle, floor it." And I hit the gas, and somehow those 2 semis missed me, and the 2 trucks in the other lanes missed me, and I ended up in the middle lane I shouldn't have been driving. I am legally blind, and it took me a long time to accept that fact. We got home safe. In 1999, after both of my boys died, and I married a husband who was not at all interested in women, and I still had not found my peace from my boys dying, and I had still not stopped that desperate need to die, I went to my fridge and got out a bottle of wine. And I went to my medicine cabinet and I got my bottle of Cerazone, which had 90 tablets, my bottle of Trazodone, which had 90 tablets, my bottle of Tylenol PM, which was small. It had 30 or less tablets. I don't know how many we had taken out of it. And I got my Vicodin, which had about 8 tablets in it. And I took it all. And in fear, I went into the bedroom and I said, Brian, he was my husband. I think I need you to take me to the hospital to get my stomach pumped. I'm in trouble. And Brian looked at me and he said, we don't have insurance. And I said, Brian, this is what I did. And I told him what I had done. And he looked at me very annoyed and he said, Michelle, sleep it off. And he went back to sleep. Well, you have to know that at that point I was terrified to sleep. So I called my work and, I camped in the bathroom because the thought of peeing my bed or going to the bathroom in my bed was outrageous, And I went to the bathroom and I told my job that I was really, really sick and they probably weren't going to see me now. Consider that it was Christmas Eve. So I did this on Christmas Eve and I was supposed to work Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and they were days you can't miss or you're going to be fired. So because of this, I lost my job. But the next day, I guess Brian pulled me out of the bathroom and laid me on the bed. And I was in a coma for a week. My friend Holly tried to get a hold of me on January 2nd, and she could not reach me because they wanted me to come over to her mother's for her mother's birthday. And she kept calling, 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 and I did not answer, and I did not answer, and I did not answer. Finally, Brian called her and said, Holly, Michelle tried to kill herself. She's still sleeping. I can't wake her up. Would you come over here and check on her? I need to go to work. And Holly's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I gotta go to work. And so at that point, she just kept calling me and calling me and calling me. And some reason or another, my brain started to hear the phone ring. And I answered the phone. Well, they got me into a free clinic and they took my blood and they did all of my lab work. And the doctor looked at me point blank and said, Michelle, you should not be alive. Your whole body shut down. I don't even know how you're breathing. You have so much toxins in your blood that I do not know how your kidneys and your liver are functioning, let alone your heart. I don't know why you're alive. It took me 6 months after that to fully recover. But if you really go and look up those things without a supernatural saving, there's no way that I would have lived through that. There's no way that anyone would have lived through that. I still didn't believe, I was still miserable. I was still horrendously unhappy. It didn't take me out of my atheistic point of view. It didn't take me out of any of my misery until I found him again. And I looked back at my life and I saw the roadmap of times when he saved me, when he rescued me, when I should have died. And I do not know why he rescued me. I do not know why he thought I was worth saving. But he did. He thought I was worth saving. When I tried to kill myself with sex and drugs, I should have gotten every disease under the sun. I was trying to get AIDS. I didn't even get gonorrhea. I didn't even get the flu, so he has protected me my whole life when I was in pain and when I was hurting. And everybody can say, oh, well, your odds are good that, you just got lucky. But I don't believe in luck anymore. I believe that there are things watching over us, whether they're good or bad. And I believe that my Abba in the Shamayim has been watching over me and protecting me from myself for some reason. And that is my testimony of my Father. And after reading the Bible almost 3 times now, all the way through, my testimony of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Ha'Kodesh, is like massive. It hits me in my core, it hits me in my waking, it hits me when I sleep. It is one of the most beautiful gifts I've ever been given, the chance to get to know him a little. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with everybody and let people out there know that even when all hope seems lost, there is someone up there. He is waiting for you to turn back to him because he's never turned away from you. He's never walked away from you. All you need to do is fall on your knees and pray. And he will hold you just like he held me. He will give you the Ruach Ha'Kodesh just like he gave it to me. If you ask him with sincerity and love in your heart. I know he will. Because I'm not special. But he gave it to me. So, that is my witness. That Yahuwah is real. That Yahushua is real. And that through them the Ruach Ha'Kodesh works in us. And is our still small voice that saves us from ourselves every single day. If we but sit and listen. Anyway. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. And may you bless and fill the lives of all these people with barakah and your love and light. Shalom.